place award, the Olympia qualifications, and the title of 2018 Pittsburgh Classic Men's Physique overall champ to your winner, Steve Laureus.
At the IFBB Pro, Pittsburgh Pro, and we are standing here with none other than the champion himself, Glorious Steve Laureus. You like the nickname, Glorious Steve Laureus?
Oh, it's awesome. I like it, yeah.
That was actually Eduardo. Eduardo came up with the nickname.
I saw that on the Redcon1 social media page, the Instagram page. I saw that yesterday.
So back in the day, Lonnie Teeper, I don't know, are you familiar with Lonnie Teeper?
No, actually.
So Lonnie Teeper is the MC of the Arnold, and he used to come up with nicknames. He was also the main writer for Iron Man magazine. He'd come up with nicknames for every single pro. Any big pro that was coming up had a nickname. And when Lonnie Teeper kind of has slowly retired, he's not all the way retired, but almost, the end of the nicknames, essentially. And Eduardo thought of a good one. So Mr. Proper is great. Glorious seems to be more fitting. So
yeah. It goes with my last name, actually.
Yeah, it works perfectly.
It's better, it's smoother, so I like it.
So let's talk about, you're here, you won, all this work. Now there's a lot of work that went into this and a lot of sacrifice that went into this. You finally won. I know it's hard because you just walked off stage, but how does it feel?
I feel excited, man. I'm very excited. You know, yesterday we made some adjustment from yesterday to today, you know, especially with the tanning and the oil. You know, so we were a little rushed to get on stage yesterday, and, you know, I was very nervous. It was my first time, and, you know, when I went out there, I saw Jim Bannon and his son and his grandson was sitting there. I'm like, oh my God. So I kind of blinked out a little bit. So I just got to get more stage presence and get more comfortable, and, you know, I'm very excited that this is over, and it's been a long prep, man, you know?
So I should point out, this is Steve's first pro show, and you have very limited stage experience. What's your other stage experience other than this one here?
Well, I did a couple shows before that, but, you know, it was, to me, I'm still a rookie, so this is the first one, so this is what matters, you know? So we're looking forward to, you know, to see what we're going to do if we're going to do the New York Pro, you know? So it's my coach's decision, so we'll see if we're going to make some adjustment to get bigger and tighter, so we're looking forward to it.
So let's talk about the struggles. Now, no prep is easy, but I know you had some specific struggles that you went through this prep that were different than any other that you've done, and probably a lot of people out there who compete haven't dealt with all this stuff at once.
Yes, actually, it was week after week, so a lot of things have been happening, you know, to a point that I wanted to give up on the prep. You know, I almost called him a couple times and said, you know, I have too many things going on, especially financially with, you know, my situation. So another problem too is just that I stand on my feet a lot, you know, so I think that doesn't give me time to socialize with people online, to post better, to do a lot of things that I'm supposed. So technically it looked more like I'm kind of irresponsible with a lot of things, but it's just the job doesn't give me time to do a lot of things. So a full-time bodybuilder can focus more and get their meals on time and train on time and rest on time. You know, a lot of guys have that opportunity, you know, but for me, this is brand new. So, you know, hopefully I have that opportunity going forward to bring a better package, you know, for the stage, you know.
So it's funny because you bring up an interesting point. So people don't realize that you work an extremely full-time job, that you have a very full schedule, and that it's not like, you know, it's not all handed to you on a plate. And so it's funny because on today, just recently, before I left here, I looked at an ad. One of our ads features one of your workouts. And somebody goes, must be nice to be able to flex in the mirror all day and focus on working out. And I'm like, and I wrote on that, me personally wrote in the comment, and I was like, yeah, man, that's the exact opposite of the truth. You're working a full-time job.
Yes, yes. Well, I've been doing this job for 6 years, and to be honest, I don't really care what people say online. You know, there's a lot more, you know, improvement we're going to make, you know. So I think the physique will speak for itself. You know, practice make better. So I have to practice more. you know, with my posing, with a lot of things that I've done, you know, so I'm looking forward to get better. So social media, you know, I don't really care what people say. It's actually going to make me better.
Good.
So all the negative thoughts, it doesn't matter to me.
Nor should you. I'm going to bring over Justin Miller, his coach here. Justin played an integral part. We've been talking throughout a lot of the prep here and there. And what do you think of your guy?
I think he's awesome. I mean, he's very, very talented. One of, if not the most talented bodybuilder I've ever worked with. He's a work in progress in that, you know, Steve's only done 5 shows, including today, in his entire life. 3 of them in the IFBB and the NPC level, you know, shows. And he's only going to get better. You know, this is a guy that's going to do great things in the sport. And each time we've competed, we've had learning experiences that we've grown from, and you know, the best of Steve Laureus is yet to come.
I know Steve has invested a tremendous amount of time and effort into this, but you and I, we both invested because we believe in Steve and the potential that Steve has. Yes. Every day you see him come in there and train and sacrifice. Where do you think the potential is? Where will Steve go?
The first time I ever saw Steve pose, he'll probably tell you what I said to him, but I think that potential's still there. I think that Steve can be a Mr. Olympia. I think that Steve, this is a big statement, but I think Steve could be a Mr. Olympia in multiple divisions possibly, or at least in terms of the classic, and eventually if he wanted to put on that muscle and go after the open guys, you know, once he puts that muscle on, he could outshape people and eventually be a Mr. Olympia in the open division if he wanted to.
I've heard you say that before. Is that something that you would aspire to, or is that something you have a potential like in your mind that could be a goal?
Yes. Actually, I'm not 100% that, you know, I was going to do the Olympia this year. I'm not sure because, you know, I was thinking of taking time off to put on a lot of size, you know, to do the Arnold next year, the Open. You know, if you can get me there, that would be awesome because of the situations that I'm in now. I just think that, you know, what my friend George got 3rd last year, you know, at the Olympia. He just, you know, he didn't come in with anything. It was a lot of sacrificing. You know, he did 7 shows. You know, a lot of sacrificing. You know, spending, you know, a lot of time consuming, and he didn't get anything on stage. It was just nothing financially, you know. So, you know, I have a son. I have a lot going on in my life, you know. So, for me to get better, you know, for the Olympia, if I'm going to do the Olympia, you know, I have to win 1st place, you know, to make things a little bit better in my life, you know. So I don't want to go in the hand of, you know, the judges and, you know, coming up short, you know, sacrificing a lot in times and stuff like that with my schedule with work. So, you know, we'll see. We don't know, you know. So that's my motive now, you know. We're looking forward to for next year. We don't know.
Well, we'll talk. I guess we'll all talk about the plans. But
as far as classic goes, I think that Steve could be a Mr. Olympia.
Oh yeah.
I have 4 guys that I work with who I think actually could be a Mr. Olympia. Steve has the craziest shape of anybody in the entire division that I've seen. Nobody has Steve's shape, and like I said, it's his 5th show, so this guy's only going to improve. I don't know exactly where the trajectory of his, you know, career is going to end up, whether it's classic, whether it's open, but whatever it is, I expect great things from Steve Laureus. I think he's a work in progress, and he's only getting better.
Me too. So the New York Pro is in 2 weeks now? 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
Are we expecting, is Steve competing in the show? Do we know what's going on now?
Well, here's the situation with this, Aaron. Last year, Steve turned pro with the other guy, one of the other guys I trained, Amit Roy, and they decided, you know, which shows which, and Amit actually came up as the overall winner in that show. So, you know, we said, Amit, which one do you want to do? He said, I want to do New York. So Steve said, okay, I'll do the Arnold at the time. But then things changed, and we decided let's go after Pittsburgh. It wasn't enough time. He wanted some downtime and off season. But so him and Amit said they wouldn't compete against each other because they both didn't want to mess with each other's qualifications. So the plan was for Steve to qualify here for the Olympia, Amit to qualify in New York for the Olympia. So the only other possibility is Steve weighed in today at somewhere around, or yesterday, somewhere around 210 pounds. There is a 212-pound division that we were kind of kicking around the idea. So, you know, he would look like apples and oranges with those guys. Those guys are short, thick, kind of blockier, where Steve's classic, awesome, you know, Flex Wheeler-ish type of shape. But it'll be interesting to see him in a 212.
I don't know what to say, Coach. I think a lot of things happened, you know, overnight yesterday, you know, and a lot of transition we made, you know. So you wasn't concerning, you know, but I was actually very worried about the routine. They cut the time. There's a lot of things happened. I was very stressed this morning about the situation.
Yeah, you did do good.
Thank you, thank you. But for the New York Pro, you know, I'm gonna start working tomorrow, you know. So we're gonna go out to eat tonight and trying to fill up, you know. So tomorrow we're gonna be in the gym in the morning, first thing in the morning, and get ready, you know, to see what we're gonna come up with in 2 weeks if we really decide to do this.
All right, for the champ, Steve Laureus, for Justin Miller, phenomenal coach, and for me, Aaron Singerman, for Redcon1, we're out.